Hey guys, wanna know something really cool? Characters. A symbolic tool used to form or represent traits and features, at least in the creative context.
Okay, that appears to be working. That's how you test your camera, by the way. Welcome to the character design video, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. We, of course, are going to talk about characters, and in specific, yours and how you could make one. We all love characters. They tell our stories, convey our feelings, and represent us. And to be honest, I can't think of another group as creatively inclined as this funny little community that's known as furries. Now, if you're new to the little strange subculture, or new to the scene, a lot of people like to make their own characters for a lot of different reasons, actually. Having a character can serve a lot of different purposes. The most common just simply being people want an anthro representation of themselves, or simply just an anthro alias because they like that certain style of artwork or that style of character. Or maybe you just like developing characters because it's fun. It's a nice creative activity to do. Okay, so before we begin, there's some important foundational stuff that we should probably talk about. The type of characters I'm mainly going to be discussing are anthropomorphic characters within the context of the furry fandom. So furry or anthropomorphic is used kind of loosely. It can apply to a lot of things. We're going to go with my definition of anthropomorphic, the iconic furry character that you mainly see in the fandom. Bipedal, upright, sentient animal people. So I've been asked a few times, and I've seen a lot of people say they struggle with the character design process, and it can certainly be a difficult choice, especially if you're using said character to represent you. But one thing I will say before we actually get into the tips and tricks of this is that your character absolutely will change over time. That's just how we humans work. Our views on the world and our desires for pretty much anything, including what we seek in a character, will change as you grow as a human. But just know that you can always just tweak your character, really simple, or just make a new character if that's something you like. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's have a nice little conversation, you and I, about that. A little chat and some tips about character design brought to you by Funny Orange Fox Thing. Okay, by no means am I a professional artist or some sort of artistic academic or teacher or whatever synonym you want to apply to that. I am simply just a humble fox boy that likes to talk about fun creative things and make silly YouTube videos. But I've been in the community a while, so that kind of has to count for something, I guess. But anyway, that being said, of course this video is going to be based kind of around my interpretation, my definition of things. But the main goal is just to help you guys get the creative process going and get some tips for making your own character. And within this video, I'm keeping art commissioning and fursuit commissioning in mind. Okay, so the big question, where do you begin in designing a character? A lot of people actually, this is one of the hardest parts for them. Tip number one, let's say you're not very creative, you just want to get something done really quick. You could always just be a blue dog. You could just be a blue dog. It's bright, it's basic, and it's quick. I'm joking. I am joking. It is a joke. Fun. I'm a fox. I can't joke about being basic. I just can't. I can't do that. I'm not allowed to. The fox is criticizing blue dogs for being basic. Shut it. Shut up. A really solid starting point is simply just picking your species. What kind of critter do you want to be? And if you don't know off the top of your head, that's okay, because I didn't either when making this one. You can do what I did and just pick your favorite one. Or just, you could go with some sort of animal you really have an affinity with, or one you just find the cutest. In my opinion, it is very important that you do in fact vibe with your character. You have some sort of like emotional attachment to your character. So picking like a favorite animal or some sort of animal that you have an affinity for is always a good choice. But there's certainly a lot of other methods to choosing your species. A lot of people prefer the certain fur or pattern designs of an animal. We live on a really cool planet with tons of critters, and all of them look super cool. There is a lot of variety in how animals look. and a lot of variety on how you can apply that to your character too. If you want something like stripes, you could always go with a tiger. If you want big ears, go with like a fennec. If you want spots, you can always go with like a leopard or like a snow leopard or something like that. Or maybe you want like a simpler design like a fox. And if you're still having trouble, keep in mind you can always make like a hybrid type of species. That's actually a pretty popular method and they look really good in my opinion. And also keep in mind if you're struggling to pick your animal, you can base which species you pick off of like the potential behavior of the animal as well, not just how they look. You could certainly just pick an animal for how silly they are naturally, like a ferret or something like that. That is super valid too. TLDR, in my opinion, it's quite important that you do vibe with your character, and picking a species that you have an affinity for certainly helps. You can of course base this off of how much you like a certain animal, how they look, their patterns. You can combine animals too to make a hybrid until you're happy with the look of it, or you can even base it off of the personality or the behavior of said animal.
Hey guys, I lost my script. I can't find it anywhere. I think it's somewhere. You smell bad, by the way.
Alright, cool. Let's assume you picked out a fun little critter for your character. You picked out the species that you want your character to be. Good job. That part's difficult. So now we get to move on to the next part. So I would definitely recommend at this stage just moving on to color palette. So to put it really simple, a color palette is basically the collection of colors that makes up your character. What colors are on your character? When you look at somebody else's character, what colors do you see? I would say yes, that includes clothes, but let's for now just focus on your character's body, just their body. So of course you can pick the natural colors that your animal might have. Of course, like a fox is like orange, kind of black, white-ish. A wolf is more like kind of a blend of grays and silvers and woody colors. But there's a ton of different methods for actually getting a cool color palette that you want to use. I personally would recommend just going with natural earthy colors because they all work with each other pretty well. But you can, of course, like I said, generate one, or you can base it off of something like, you know, like pastel colors. And you can also base it off of something like a favorite album cover that you like, or some sort of famous art piece, or even like a photography of like a forest or a mountain range or something like that. A good example is me, actually. I based my color palette off of autumn because I really like autumn. It is my favorite season. I picked the orange as like the autumn leaves and the gray as like gray overcasted skies because, oh my god, that's just such a good vibe. I love that so much. Like I said, you should really vibe with your character, so the colors you use on your character should mean something. But a pro tip from me to you, I would definitely recommend using a natural looking color palette, something that kind of occurs in nature, like earthy tones. I'm not so much a fan of like super neon stuff, and no, this orange does not count because this is a naturally occurring color. Go look at some autumn leaves. But by all means, if you want to be a blue dog, go ahead and be a blue dog. Nobody's going to stop you. But just keep in mind at some point, if you add way too much deviation or choose a pretty overly vibrant color palette, you could end up looking a little bit like an eyesore. Too lazy didn't read. It's important for you to pick a color palette that you vibe with. Your character should be something you kind of have an attachment to, so it's important to pick colors that you like or find pleasant, or have something associated with them. Don't be afraid to deviate from your species' natural fur or body patterns. You can add as many accents or deviations as you want. But if you have trouble with that, you could always just be blue. I am a very silly little fops and accidentally pulled the cord out of my microphone because I'm just a funny little guy like that. And now I have to test the video. Okay, great. Now your character is a colorful little critter. Great, good job. Let's personalize them a little bit. Give them a little bit of the human aspect. Humanize them. Make them a person. So like, how do you make your character more than just simply X species with these colors? Now, how exactly do you humanize a fictional character? That's kind of difficult because unless you're actively cosplaying one like I am right now, like I am playing my character, it's just kind of fictional and it's not real. So how exactly do you make them have a personality if they're just a drawing? The real difference is in the small little details of your character. There is a lot of methods to do this, but I would say just try to capture the vibe you're going for as best as possible. If you're modeling your character after yourself, for example, look at yourself and see all of your defining characteristics, what you like to do, what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of things you like, and try to put that into your character as best as you can. For example, maybe you kind of have like an edgy hairstyle or like a messy hairstyle, or you don't have any hair at all. If your character is like older or something like that, you can give them like a beard or some sort of like wear. Or maybe you have another character as that kind of serves as inspiration, or maybe another person you kind of want to base it off of. What kind of characteristics do they have? You can put those on your character. Any sort of little accent or anything you can put on your character builds up and it adds a lot. Another really good example is I've actually seen some characters, or a character that had like a cybernetic leg, because the actual creator of that character had a prosthetic themselves, and they kind of wanted their character to be a reflection of themselves. So their character also had a prosthetic or cybernetic leg, and I just think that is cool as hell. So a lot of little details like that. And of course you can have your friends give you a second opinion. It makes for a great activity, really fun activity, just to get a bunch of people together in a call and then build a character together. The more pairs of eyes, the better, because people can pick up on stuff that you potentially might miss. And another little tip that I have is that it always is helpful to come up with a brief little description of your character. Maybe like a little 1 to 2 sentence spiel on your character of what they like or what their personality is. Nothing too crazy, but like a little short snippet of something that you can just give to an artist that helps them capture the vibe of your character better. Like, oh, I am a dude that likes the ocean, coffee, and metal music, but I'm kind of an asshole sometimes. This guy. Or you could be like, I'm a blue dog, I like cars, I'm so interesting. Again, joking. And a lot of people like to write lore for their character, and I think that is also super beneficial in trying to capture the personality and vibe. And I certainly have a ton of lore for this character too. He's actually quite a serious character, all things aside. But yes, TLDR, all the small little details add up. Anything that you think can capture, anything that kind of captures your character's traits adds up and helps build. Anything from body traits to clothing, etc., that kind of stuff. Okay, great. The most difficult part, manifesting your character. How do you make your little funny thought of a character be more than just a funny little thought in your head? Well, the simple answer is it needs to be drawn. Either you need to do that or somebody else needs to help you with that or do it for you. Now, of course, drawing is a skill. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to learn how to develop this skill and to actually be good at it. Of course, you can, pick up a pencil or try to draw something with your mouse in like MS Paint and get some sort of eldritch abomination. But you should probably treat your character a little better than that, in my opinion. Poor guy. But luckily, you've discovered probably the densest group of creative and artists in the world. Congratulations. There are tons of super talented artists that are more than willing to help you. So, at this stage, I would recommend just going online and getting a free-to-use ref sheet. Just like a little template base, free-to-use ref sheet. So go ahead and just get your little template and go ahead and open up any image editor that you have access to. And just do your best to capture a rough outline of your character, just to the best of your ability. It doesn't have to be pretty. There's a pretty good chance it might also look like some sort of eldritch abomination, and that's okay. Just go to like an artist and then just ask them, be like, hey, this is my first character. I'm in the very early stages of actually, bringing him to life. Can you take this really rough kind of sketch I have for you and make it into a piece of art, make the character real? And pretty much any artist will be more than happy to assist you with that. You'd be surprised how much an artist can do with so little. It's really such a cool process. But obviously you have to pay artists. They need to be compensated for their time and their skill set. We all have to make a living somehow. And commissioning is not always an option for everybody. So if that isn't an option, that kind of leaves you to have somebody else help you or kind of like donate a drawing. Do not beg for art that is super lame, but if you have a friend that is willing to help you, that is great. Just work it out with them and maybe they can draw you like a little rough sketch or something. And you could also later give that to an artist too. But a little recommendation for that is when you design your character or you're trying to manifest it, do it in like a group call. Get like a bunch of buddies together, just get in like a Discord call and design your character together. It really smooths over the process and it's quite fun. But if you are a lonely person, very sad, and none of those are the options for you, it is never too late to pick up a pencil. You'd be really surprised what 2 years of practice can do for you. It's quite an incredible process, difficult, but it's always worth it to learn new skills. Like, I decided like 2 years ago that I was like, I want to get better at drawing because I want to make my own like webcomic someday. And the progress I've seen of myself in 2 years is actually pretty cool. It gives me a lot of hope. Makes me feel better about myself. I would recommend. And then also another alternative I've seen is some people actually 3D model their characters. They can't draw, but they can certainly 3D model quite well. That of course takes a lot of skill too, but that is an alternative if you do have the skill set. But yeah, too lazy, didn't read, go online, get a little free to use ref sheet template, fill that up the best you can and give that to an artist who can draw you a nice character for you. Make sure to talk with them first to make sure that's okay. Alternatively, you could have somebody else, like a good friend, draw one for you or help you draw one. Don't beg for art, make sure that's something they want to do. And then you could of course always learn to draw yourself or some other alternative method to manifesting them, like making a 3D model. And I'm sure there's other ways, but those are the ways I would recommend doing it. Alright, awesome. That's my little foundational spiel on the basics of furry character design. It's not terribly difficult, so hopefully these pointers kind of help you kickstart the process. If you were thinking about making a character yourself, I would definitely recommend that. It is a lot of fun. And with that being said, a little personal note from me is that your character absolutely will change over time. We're all human, we grow, we experience things in life, our tastes artistically and just with everything change, and then your desire in a character is going to change as well. And that's okay, that's just how we humans work. Or fox people, if you want to be silly. I much prefer being a fox person, it's a lot more fun. But yeah, keep in mind that your character is going to change a little bit. It kind of evolves with you. I was tweaking this character, my little fox, up until I bought the suit. And even then I'm considering changes as well. The original design for my character actually is completely different than what it looks like now. Everything pretty much changed except for the species. But just know that you can always tweak your character or just make a new one, whatever fits your vibe better. So that's all me, the funny orange fox thing, has to say today. I really appreciate you guys watching. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my funny things. But I hope this kickstarts your character making process or kind of clarifies a couple things. Or you just enjoyed seeing the suit. That's also super valid too. Hey guys, I'm changing camera positions now. Thank you for watching my videos. I love you.
Awesome. That's my foundational recommendations for furry character design. So let's do a little recap. TLDR, furry characters are anthropomorphic humanoid characters, a person just with animal characteristics of your choice. Pick your species, preferably something you vibe with or just straight up your favorite animal. Pick a nice color palette you like, one that represents your character. This can be based off of anything from nature to music albums. Personalize your character. The little details make all the difference. Personality traits, hairstyle, clothing, accessories, anything that would represent your artistic idea of your character. To make your character more than just an idea, draw them. If you can't, pay somebody to draw them for you, or to help you. If you can't do that either, ask a friend to help you, but don't beg because begging is super lame. You could also use a free ref sheet base to help you commission a proper ref sheet, which you should get once you're happy with your design. Also, you can ask artists and friends what they might recommend or suggestions. Okay, awesome, that's the vid, guys. Hopefully this helps or was interesting to listen to, or you just enjoyed seeing the suit. That's super valid too. Go ahead and please ask questions, or just talk with each other in the comments. Make some friends, learn something new. Let's focus on building a community. Feel free to recommend video ideas too. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.
I love you.